Weekly T is here. Got the whole gang in the house. Now Southwest says that fat people can fly for free. Make sure that you.
Why are you saying it like this?
Because
Fat people can fly.
That's what
basically
it is.
they said that they could
It is
fly.
what it is.
Really?
Not completely free. They gotta buy a ticket, but it's not.
They don't have to buy
have to buy an
seat.
extra seat, but they can take up an extra seat and even take a seat away from another paying customer. I mean, it's a crazy saga that we're about to endure here. Before we get into that, we have a comment from another quality person. Amani's in the house. Says too much of anything can be toxic. You ain't never lied.
Hey, Imani.
I love that. Thank you for tuning in, Imani. We greatly appreciate it. Now, let's get into this. There was a New York Post article that basically says that, Southwest has a policy that they're now enforcing because of, I guess, this TikTok solo vlogger, and I guess it represents the fat community. This is basically like, hey, Southwest will let you just, you just go up and talk to the person at the counter, and they'll basically, if your body dips over into the other seat, then they'll accommodate you with, I forgot what they call it, plus size policy or something like that, by letting you have an extra seat for free. And even if you buy an extra seat and you want to activate this policy, then they'll refund you your money back. Now, I have insider information because my dad's a pilot. Now, he's a pilot for another airline, but he's like, Southwest ain't doing too well. They have countless lawsuits. Their pilots I don't think their pilots are too happy with how things are being conducted. And now they got this, where it seems like, this doesn't seem like a very good business model. So
It kind of sounds like what we were just listening to with Patrick Pet David, and he was like, you should choose your enemies wisely. And it sounds like Southwest is choosing their enemies incorrectly, which is the paying customers that they're taking seats away from.
Yes. Ooh,
Very
that's
good
a
point.
that's a good point. Come on,
no,
with
that's a very good point. I like that. Yeah, that was a quality take there. But yeah, it seems like this wouldn't be of the best service. Now, a lot of these people in this, the TikTokers in the plus size community will say like, hey, the airliners need to, basically widen the aisles, and, the seats need to become bigger. And I was telling my dad, and he was like, that's ridiculous, because these airplanes are made specifically, like, everything's in place for a reason. Like, that's why you bring in a mechanic, and people go through like
engineers.
these, and the engineers to know, like, hey, like, all right, the average weight of a person is this. Let's see if we can get this many seats in here. Like, what does this logistically look like for traveling people? Now to just completely change your design to accommodate a specific group of people that are probably a small minority of all the people that are traveling, just to make them feel better, is asinine. It's just crazy.
That's the problem.
Yeah. And that's the problem. And especially when it's something that you generally can control. Now, if you got a health issue, I can see, like, okay, yeah, I can see that we can make some accommodations for you. Absolutely. Especially but then you get into the situation where people can, fake, health issues or whatever, or just say that they have a health issue when they really don't. Just like everybody in the military is disabled somehow. So, it's like everybody's at like 85, 100% disability. And I was like, bro, you were just at the pickleball course for 5 hours. Like, I played with you for 5 hours and you have a handicap sticker. Like, that's crazy. So, it does get a little dicey when it comes to that. But I would be all for like making accommodations for people who do have actual health issues, and they aren't just, big just because they did that to themselves.
Yeah.
They were overindulgent and they're unhealthy, right? I think that's a disservice to, all the people who, work hard, they pay for their airline ticket, And,
Yeah.
this is, I mean, because we're all going through the same thing. You know what I mean? And so let's get into this article really quickly, though.
Shocked at what American high school.
So it says plus size TikTokers are praising Southwest Airlines for its customer of size policy, which allows overweight passengers to request a complimentary seat and forces the flight staff to accommodate larger flyers, even if that means kicking others with tickets off the flight. Bruh. Now that's just crazy. Like I was mentioning before, under the Texas-based airlines policy, that was worded weird. Customers whose bodies encroach past the armrest are entitled to an extra seat at no additional cost. Now, I believe that's the words from the policy. That sounds wild. That sounds wild. What do you guys think of just that?
The entitled words.
It's amazing to me.
Amazing.
Like
How so?
How are it?
That's my boy Ty. He said, "Hold up now. I'm going to buy a fat suit because
That's
who
actually a
want
good
a free?"
idea.
He was like, "Yeah, I
Can't you just identify?
as a person that's overweight."
Yeah, you certainly can. I identify as my body moving past the armrest, so therefore I need an extra seat. That's it.
Now
But
here's
my
the.
thing is,
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Miracle. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. I was just gonna say, it's amazing how they're essentially making most of their customers responsible for the minority
That's a good one.
of such a small customer base that I'm sure it makes me wonder who did the numbers on this thing and who said this is a great idea and they'll make a
DEI.
profit from this and they'll essentially benefit from it. What'd you say, Ken?
I said DEI, diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
That group.
Oh my God.
Well,
Oh my God.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you this. So Southwest is known as the love company. So we fly Southwest when I travel. I have a bunch of points that I accumulated from last year. I'd gone on a Southwest trip in 3 weeks, and overall they're pretty solid. But say for if the staff came up to me and was like, "Yeah, we got to make accommodations for this plus size flyer," and they came up to me, who is traveling for business so that I could film World War II vets and we're on a strict schedule. And they're like, "No, you got to get over your seat." It's like, no, that's throwing off my whole schedule that we have paid tickets for. That is absolutely, that's crazy, right? Now, if anything, they should make the plus size flyer get onto another flight where that's not as full if they want to do it, not kick somebody else off that already has a seat just because the flight is full, right? And if they were going to make proper accommodations, because then,
Or they need to buy 2 extra seats.
or they need to buy 2 extra seats. But yeah, I mean, I agree, they need to buy 2 extra seats. But if they were going down this rabbit hole, like it's just crazy that they would kick off somebody who's got plans, obviously, on this flight for a specific reason, because they have to be somewhere, just like that plus size flyer, and then you're going to treat this person. You're basically going to give them a special privilege over that person just because of the choices that they made in their life, right? It's not. It is something that they can control. Like if it was race and discrimination, well, that's one thing. It's like, oh, you can't control race. Like, why would you prefer this person over that person? That makes absolutely no sense. But when it comes down to something that you can control, now this is omitting that you have any, actual health issues that are preventing you from being able to stand in, good health, then like it's just crazy that this would be the case, that they would kick somebody, just a hardworking American, off that paid for their ticket. So, I mean, let's get back into some more of this. It says that passengers have the option of purchasing just one seat and then discussing your seat needs with the customer service agent at the departure gate. If it's determined that a second or even a third seat is needed, you'll be accommodated with a complimentary additional seat. So, I mean, that's crazy. You know what's crazy is they will provide a complimentary seat for a plus size person, but there's been several instances where my bags were 1 pound over, and I had to sit there at the counter and take out a pound or 2 pounds of stuff out of my bag at the Southwest checkout counter. And I'm happy to do it because that's the rule. And it's like, I'm not gonna, it's either that or you pay an additional $50. Go figure, right? Right. But if they're, just a little bit into the seat rest, they can request a whole extra seat at no cost. And so that's where it's like really problematic, especially since I have personal, history with having to, all right, let me take this out of this bag that's on the scale and put it into this one because I'm checking so much gear when I'm traveling through these airports because we're actually traveling with a full production so that we can, provide the highest quality documentaries that we can provide. And so it's just crazy that that's even allowed.
Yeah, it's sad that we people expect us to accommodate to them and essentially bend to the needs of whatever they have. They expect the world to bend to them instead of them basically trying to fit into the world.
No, absolutely, absolutely. The flight team will then look at the seating arrangements, which are not predetermined on Southwest flights, and would potentially move other passengers around for the unplanned accommodation. So basically, like on Southwest, you don't have assigned seats; you board in groups, and then you can sit wherever you want. And so, I'm assuming if this person was a plus size flyer, and then they went and activated this policy, that they would basically just get to board first, even if their boarding was like C. So you board in A, B, and C. Even if their boarding was C, which generally means you probably paid a little bit less for a ticket, they would be able to board first so that they can be accommodated, which is another problem as well. So they could potentially pay for a cheaper ticket knowing that they could just activate this policy and nobody's going to be able to sit next to them anyway, because you'll often pay an upcharge to board earlier so you can get a prime seat, or you can sit exclusively with the people that you're traveling with, because sometimes you get broken up on Southwest flights. And then you end up either, maybe two people only get to sit with each other because, you were only able to, like, there was already a person in a seat or something like that. But it's crazy that they make you upcharge to board early, but then give special privileges to somebody, again, who, quite frankly, isn't deserving of it, just based on their lifestyle. All right, so let's finish up. This Southwest, though, suggests customers purchase the extra seat in advance and then contact the airline for a refund of the cost of an additional seating after travel. The purchase of additional seats serves as a notification of a special seating need and allows us to adequately plan for the number of occupied seats on board. It also helps us ensure we can accommodate all customers on the flight for which they purchased a ticket and avoid asking customers to relinquish their seats for unplanned accommodation. So they're basically like, please purchase an additional ticket so that you can make it easier on us. But what would make it easier on you is if everybody just paid what they owed, essentially.
Simple.
And
I
without
really
having to
wonder
activate a
how this will
policy.
play out.
I have a feeling, just based on some of the information that I was given, that Southwest isn't, unless they do something, they're not headed for a very profitable year. They're probably going to end up getting bought out by a bigger airliner, because they're really just they only do domestic flights. Really, they do some international flights to maybe like Jamaica or some places in Mexico, but for the most part they're only domestic. So they're like a low cost domestic flyer, but they're just better than like Spirit and Frontier and all them.
Just not profitable.
This is what
Yeah.
this is what happens when you have no no true foundation, and just basically being a gopher and going for anything.
Hmm.
Anything goes, and like um, this is what. So this is a byproduct of what America is seeing. We are just allowing the floodgates open on any and everything, no matter if it sounds outlandish, and no matter if it goes against principles and foundations that that should be put in place by knowledgeable, people. Um, to be honest, it's not much more to say, but to me, it's very ignorant and irresponsible on the decision makers. Not fat shaming at all. I have, not not definitely doing that at all. Thing is, it's like should because we are, of a different descent. Well, I should be able to get a whole free seat, and then just let Miracle sit in the seat or whatever because I'm skinny or whatever. Like like
Yeah.
it's
They're gonna
it
start
because
making us
it's
sit in
like
half
okay,
seats because we're skinny.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. It's like what's good for the good should be good, So
Yeah. Your friend Ty weighs in again. He says social media is a powerful influence tool. Southwest is being bullied by social media.
You
Yeah,
see that a lot.
I like that. And so they're
yeah,
bending
and
their
that's a
knee to,
reflection once again.
yeah, they're
They
bending.
soft. I mean, I am
Yeah.
Southwest. Yeah,
No, yeah, no,
people,
yeah.
people
You're
South.
right.
Guaranteed. You talk to some older cats or whatever. It's like people used to talk about us all the time, and we ain't breaking down with depression. Oh, because yeah, you maybe yeah, yeah, you are. You are ugly. I mean, not that, but it's slipped out.
Oh, you
It's
ain't
slipped
never
out.
lied.
But
You ain't never lied.
but but like
Tell them.
okay, this was like a few years ago at Planet Fitness. I was so shocked that on Wednesdays they would have pizza day,
I know it's crazy.
pizza and and then you all
Wait, at
already
Planet
know.
Fitness,
Yes, they
I
used
don't
to
think
have
they
pizza.
do that
They
anymore.
were
I don't know.
they were ordering
no,
I haven't
pizzas.
seen it.
Oh, so
Yeah.
no, that's a good business strategy. No, because let's keep these people
it's
fat so that they keep their membership.
yeah,
That just makes sense.
their whole brand is a no judgment zone, and that's the problem. No, judge
I'm
me because I
surprised they
want to
didn't
be
give you
better.
cake
I be
either.
feeling judged in there.
Do
Yeah,
you?
yeah, ma- yeah,
I
miracle,
do.
yeah,
She said I'd be feeling
miracle,
judged.
her little feelings get
Her little
hurt. I was like,
feelings.
hey, you not doing this exercise right. Well, I was like, look, girl, I was a whole SEC athlete. I know what I'm doing.
That's hilarious.
It's not. I would go and Planet Fitness, and I would feel judged by other women who would look at me, and maybe I don't know, maybe there was a sense of jealousy there, or a sense
Self
of
conscious, yeah,
whatever. And
yeah.
so I've had, I think you were there actually. There was like a woman that stole my machine, and she was like staring at
Oh,
me like for a minute. Yeah, it was kind of rude because she saw me about to use the machine, and she got on it and didn't even say, "Hey, are you about to use this?"
So
I'm like,
she was scared. The
Jeez.
lady, she didn't want to get
I
beat
think you
up.
were there.
She didn't want to get beat up, but it's okay. See, sometimes in the gym, stuff like that happens. Some people be on a mission, and some people just be lollygagging like, oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But and then you got some people like, look, it's been time and like, man,
Uh,
but
all right,
It just
we
accentuates
lost you for a
the
second.
culture.
We lost you for a second. I think y'all
Oh
are back
no.
now. No, y'all are
Oh no,
good.
are
Y'all
we
are good.
back? Okay.
Yeah, y'all are good.
Okay.
But anyways, I wanna get into this. Why are people nowadays so fat? Like why is Americans getting fatter? And there's a doctor that I follow. He's basically on a mission to find the best diet for humans essentially. And he put out an interesting short the other day that I think we need to, that ties into, this whole issue. Let me get to that really quick.
Shocked at what American high school gym class looked like in the 1960s. This footage is from one of the 4,000 U.S. high schools that followed La Sierra's physical education program that was pushed to be the standard model by JFK.
That was PE back in the day.
That's crazy.
That they were climbing jump ropes. Now they go outside and they're like, "Hey, walk the track."
Yeah.
Yup.
But they were actually putting in work because they understood the health ramifications that you needed to be in peak physical condition, because that was the healthiest thing for you. That was something that was good. That was a value that the society had back then. But now we're in such a consumerist and a culture that overindulges on everything, to where it is inevitable that we're just going to keep getting larger, especially when people are going to be pushing more products down our throats, and people just don't have self-control at the end of the day. That's what it boils down to.
It is a shocking sight to see
Yeah.
how seriously fitness and health were being taken in the 1960s.
These kids are fit. What's changed? I mean, you can see this on pictures of people on the beach in 1960s. You can.
Did you see those people on the beach?
Man, they look good.
Yes.
They look
Jeez.
good.
Yeah.
Th-
They
those-
look good.
Every single one of them would be an Instagram model nowadays. Every
Yes.
single one of them. That was wild.
We could all do it.
And guess what? It's all natural.
All
Mm.
No
natural.
period.
Yeah.
Yep.
For the
No
most part.
BBLs in the making of this
They
film.
because they didn't even have that as a thought. They was like, look, I gotta go to the gym and
Well,
get
they already
snatched
looked
up.
good.
Yeah,
They
like
were
that's
already
special.
Yeah.
proud of themselves because they had already put in the work. Like they felt
Yep.
good about themselves because they were going
Yep.
through the process every day of feeling good, because they were, taking their fitness seriously. And when you actually put in the work and go to the gym and you work out, you feel good about yourself afterwards. Now, getting to the gym sometimes, or getting up and going to do a workout, that could be the challenging part. But after that workout,
Yeah.
Going.
and a lot of times even during the
You feel
workout,
good.
you're like, man, I feel good about myself. And if people would just get up and really just even start moving around until it develops into a routine of, more intensive exercise, I think a lot more people would just, one, it would cure depression by a lot, just because our lifestyle is so sedentary nowadays. But then two, people would just be generally healthier. And I don't think we would, we wouldn't be as large as we are.
You see this in pictures of people lined up for Star Wars movies in the 1970s. Americans have gotten so much fatter. Today, 60% of the food we eat is ultra-processed food as Americans, and 70+% of Americans are overweight and obese. But
Oof.
the way to escape
That's
this
good.
is very clear. Get rid of ultra-processed foods, anything with seed oils, processed grains, high fructose corn syrup, get it out of your life. Focus on real whole foods. You will thrive, you'll be so much better, and you and your children will actually begin to look like the kids in this video again. It's not impossible, and it's an amazing reminder.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so,
I don't think we like hearing these simple answers
Yeah,
because we live in such a victim culture mentality. And so, victim mentality culture. And because of that, when I hear people say, well, yeah, all you have to do, maybe you'll feel a lot better. You probably won't have that anxiety or that depression, and you'll lose a little weight. You'll ultimately just feel a lot better about yourself if you go work out. But then you have the person on the other side of that saying, well, it's not that simple. It's not that easy. It may work for you, but it doesn't work for me. Then you got people co-signing it like, yeah, exactly. Not everyone is you. Not everyone can handle your diet. Not everyone can do this. And I'm like, but if you guys would just maybe take this advice and try it and look at the research behind it, you would know that after one workout, you'll feel so much better about just your overall sense of self. And then you're like, you know what? I'll try it again. Let me try it again and again and again. Oh, wow. I haven't felt depressed in a couple of days because I've actually been working on myself.
Yeah.
I think this. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say,
Go ahead, King.
yeah, if people just did like 30 minutes of movement every day, it doesn't even have to be like going to the gym and lifting heavy weights or anything. But like go for a walk or just go ride a bike or do something, some kind of movement every day, I feel like would be a game changer for a lot of people.
I'm gonna say this. I think what all of this kind of summarizes is just acceptance. People want things just because. I mean, they don't even have the. I would say the credentials for certain things. Like, okay, well, we're going to accept you for you being a little bit irresponsible with your health, and also other people is because, like, I think I saw something online. It just popped up. It was like it was these ladies that were about body positivity, for these ladies who were severely, ladies and men who were severely overweight, like 400 to 600 pounds. And they was like, yes, body positivity. And she went through like seven to ten different people, and each video she's like, yeah, this person, they died, they like,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
it's,
yeah, Blair. Yeah.
yeah, it was very, very, you know kind of eye opening. And to be honest, if we want to be honest with ourselves, whether it's us, like, people who are even skinny are obese. So, like, that's a whole conversation in itself. So it's just, so people won't just think that we're like fat shaming or whatever. But I don't want to be accepted in anything that I haven't put the work towards. I don't want to just get a participation trophy. I never been that person. If I didn't do well, I didn't do well. Or and so I don't think that we should get any type of, um I call it a complimentary, or not even a complimentary, or like get this catbird seat, as what the old people would say, get the catbird seat because I'm overweight. No, no. So
I don't know what that means, but it sounded good. So,
Me
yeah,
either. It
so
sounds good.
so the catbird seat is like, hey, you're getting like something additional for you, like let's say, for instance, if a person is handicapped, they get the catbird seat of going first out of the elevator.
okay,
Okay.
So like
got you.
stuff like that.
Oh, so like the fat people in Southwest.
Exactly.
Right.
No, I mean that makes sense.